We're going to start with Helen Farish, who is a wonderful poet of desire and loss. I think that sometimes, obviously, desire and loss are, by their very nature, inarticulate. They're wordless. They're sounds. They're weeping or their ecstasy or their uttered vowels. But in this collection, in this fantastic collection, Helen articulates these things for us, plays with them, places them in time. As she says, things rise and fall, moments, places, selves. And the book is full of there's joy in the book, but there's also a kind of indefinable ache that is so true to those of us who felt this indefinable ache. It is a book that makes you think this is about some particular people, but it's also about all of us. It really is. It's a book that draws you into itself, and afterwards it lives with you for a long time. And also, I've got to tell you, in this book, there is the best poem about a roundabout that I've ever read in my life. Helen.
Well, as we were walking down for the second half, I said to Ian, please make me laugh, because that's when I relax. So thank you, Ian, for making me laugh about my roundabout poem, which I'm not going to read. Maybe I shouldn't. But it's just so wonderful to be here and to have this opportunity to share some of my poems with you. Exactly 8 minutes of poems, so I'd better get on. So the entire collection is a series of interlinked poems which are looking back on a life, and they use a lost relationship as a hook to just to explore particularly potent memories. And the opening poem is set in Morocco, where the couple in question were working and where they first met, and it lists what they loved about that place. Things we loved. The Marché Central at closing time, men heading home on mint-laden mopeds, walking up the marble steps to La Poste, built as though communication was a god. The Sphinx on a Saturday night, the one-eyed rose seller, table to table with the long stems, men wanting to impress, bought by the dozen. The knife sharpener singing outside the open classroom window. The seamless, powdery pastels of the Medina, the call to prayer, the labels in Arabic glued to your bag before it was thrown onto the roof of the bus. Fish tagine on Fridays, red and black taxis, the Atlantic at Ain Diab. Football games on the sands, the ocean thumping down its rollers, scoring each and every time. The air in Essaouira, glassine on the first day of spring, Harira. The cinema whose ceiling dripped as if it too felt the weepy scenes. The slipper souk in Marrakesh, and those acrobats twisting and looping and hooping on the street, tumbling and rolling without fear of what one bad move might mean. We watched from the restaurant at whose window we sat and where we must have known, though we both claimed not to, what was about to begin. The next poem takes us to a few years down the line in the relationship, and the location is definitely not as exotic. That route, I remember that time we were driving back home after visiting friends who had young children, and I said how glad I was we hadn't gone down that route, adding a rhetorical, "Aren't you?" I was at the wheel. Did I make some maneuver, switch lanes perhaps, as a way to breeze past the reply I hadn't expected? We were on the M40 on a late November, late afternoon, waning light, rain turning to sleet. And the weather had been no doubt partly to blame for why keeping small children happy in a South London park had seemed like a fate anyone would be relieved to have escaped. Tears on the seesaw, fights on the swings, injuries on the slide, more tears. But you had smiled through it all, volunteering piggybacks and peekaboo and pushes on the swings. High Wycombe, Aylesbury, Thornhill Park and Ride. There were never any tears or fights in our house until the night 2 weeks later you wept like a child. I think often when you're in the process of writing a group of interlinked poems like this, you don't quite realize what you're doing fully until you get to the end of it. And it was only looking back I realized that one of the main themes running through the book is actually self-forgiveness. And this is one such poem, I think, which reflects that. Its title is borrowed from the 1990 film, which was on again over Christmas, so it might be fresh in your minds. It's the one with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman. It was as near as, damn it, the dress Julia Roberts wore to the polo match, except mine was navy with cream polka dots, hers caramel and cream. I'd been shopping with your brother's wife in Jigsaw, so you'd not seen the dress till I stood slinky against the back door. You left whatever it was you were doing in the garden. It was August, so let's say you were deadheading. And very quickly, I was no longer wearing the dress. And if I had known that that was the last time, surely I would have woken up to the enormity of what I was letting slip and fought hard, fought with every fibre to stop it. We were made for each other, like polkas and dots, caramel and cream, Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. But look at me, stepping back into the dress, pulling up the side zip, smoothing it down as though that's all it took. So as you've probably gathered, there's only one you which is addressed throughout the whole book. And after the relationship was over, he became an artist. And so the red circles referred to in this next poem are the stickers that galleries use to indicate when a painting has been sold. Red circle. On the platform at West Hampstead, I saw an ad for an exhibition which included your work. I pictured myself at the gallery, dark glasses, collar up, a mysterious patron leaving red, sold circles in her wake. When we met, It was your light I was sold on as much as your green eyes, your Levi's. I may as well have stuck a red circle on my forehead. From the first day, no one else got a look in. Van Gogh wrote that his sunflowers were an expression of gratitude for the yellow house. I see him in that Provençal light which strips away the layer that protects us from beauty. Almond blossom, stars, cypresses, wheat fields, crows. What will I see when one day I stand in front of you again? And I thought I'd end with a poem about food. Couples often have a particular song which is meaningful to them, but I think that recipes can also become repositories of meaning and emotion. And this poem is a sonnet about one such recipe. So thank you again so much for being here and for listening. Pasta alla gorgonzola. If I can't find gorgonzola picante, I use Stilton or Black Sticks Blue. The wine, a bold Italian red. The penne should be slow-dried, bronze-drawn. Butter, cream, easy. Take 3 ingredients, pasta, wine, you. Add a 4th. Christmas Eve, a birthday, a promotion, Valentine's Day, an anniversary. Toss me a day in 1989, early spring, Cefalù, lunch which friends threw together in 10 minutes flat, a recipe we never forgot. For dessert, oranges from their garden. This is how to live, we thought. We both thought this is how to live. Thank you.